He was a mediocre baseball player, a Princeton graduate who spoke more than a dozen languages, a man who carried a mysterious black camera into enemy territory during World War II, and one of the strangest, most brilliant figures in baseball history. This is the unbelievable story of Moe Berg, the catcher who became a spy. Morris Moe Berg was born in 1902 in New York City, the son of Ukrainian Jewish immigrants. From the start, he didn't fit the mold of a typical ball player. While most kids were dreaming of the big leagues, Moe was devouring books, mastering languages, and dazzling teachers with his intellect. But he also loved baseball, and he was good enough to play at Princeton, where he became a campus legend. Not for his batting average, but for the fact that he could speak Latin to his teammates on the field. After college, he signed with the Brooklyn Robins in 1923. Over the next 15 years, he bounced around the majors, the White Sox, the Indians, the Senators, and the Red Sox. He was a backup catcher, a career .243 hitter, and by all accounts, pretty average. But here's the thing, Moe Berg wasn't on the roster because of his bat. He was there because he was useful. He read newspapers in 7 languages. He corrected reporters' grammar. He once skipped batting practice to attend a lecture at the Sorbonne. Teammates called him the professor, opponents called him weird, and managers, well, they weren't really sure what to make of him. But the US government, they saw potential. In 1934, Moe Berg joined an all-star baseball tour of Japan. Babe Ruth was there, Lou Gehrig was there, and Moe Berg, backup catcher, was somehow invited too. But Moe had a secret mission. He smuggled a movie camera into a hospital, climbed to the roof, and filmed the Tokyo skyline, especially the naval yards and industrial districts, footage that would later be used by the US intelligence during World War II. When the war began, Moe didn't hesitate. He joined the Office of Strategic Services, the OSS, the predecessor to the CIA. Suddenly, the quiet, bookish catcher was trained in sabotage, espionage, and covert operations. His most dangerous mission came in 1944. The US feared that Nazi Germany was close to building an atomic bomb. The key scientist behind the project was Werner Heisenberg. Moe Berg's assignment? Attend a lecture in Switzerland, determine how close the Germans were, and if Heisenberg hinted they were near success, kill him. Moe sat in the audience with a pistol in his pocket. He listened carefully. Heisenberg spoke cautiously, avoiding specifics, but Moe heard enough to conclude the Nazis were not close. He walked out of the lecture without pulling the trigger, a decision that may have changed the course of history. After the war, Moe Berg was offered the Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian honor in the United States. He refused it. Why? Well, no one really knows. Some say he felt his missions were failures. Others say he didn't want attention. His siblings eventually accepted the medal on his behalf after his death. In 1951, Berg begged the CIA, which had replaced the OSS, to send him to the recently formed nation of Israel. "A Jew must do this," he wrote in his notebook. The CIA rejected Berg's request, but in 1952, Berg was hired by the CIA to use his old contacts from World War II to gather information about the Soviet atomic bomb project. For the $10,000 plus of expenses that Berg received, the CIA received nothing. The CIA officer who spoke with Berg when he returned from Europe said that he was, quote, flaky. Moe drifted through the rest of his life. He never married, never held a steady job, he lived with friends, slept on couches, and carried a suitcase full of books everywhere he went. When people asked what he did for a living, he'd smile and say, "I'm a wandering Jew." He was charming, brilliant, and deeply alone. A man who lived 2 lives, but didn't quite belong to either. According to his brother Samuel, Berg had become moody and snappish after the war, and didn't seem to care much for life besides his books. Samuel finally grew fed up with the arrangement and asked Moe to leave, even having eviction papers drawn up. Moe had been living with Samuel for 17 years. As far as his baseball career went, Moe Berg played in parts of 15 seasons. However, he only played in 663 games. Mind you, again, he was a backup catcher. In those 15 years, he accumulated a negative 4.7 B-WAR. He hit just 6 home runs. He hit .243, .278, .299, good for an OPS plus of just 49. And yet, he still received votes for the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. Obviously, Moe Berg never got in, but when he was criticized for wasting his intellectual talent on the sport he loved, Berg replied, "I'd rather be a ball player than a justice of the US Supreme Court." Berg received many requests to write his own memoirs, but turned them down. He almost began work on them in 1960, but he quit after the co-writer assigned to work with him confused him with Moe Howard of the Three Stooges. In 1972, at the age of 70, Moe Berg passed away. His final words were spoken to the nurse at his bedside. "How did the Mets do today?" Even after espionage, world travel, and life-or-death missions, baseball was still his first love. His ashes were scattered over Mount Scopus in Jerusalem. His Medal of Freedom hangs in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Berg has a baseball card on display at the headquarters of the CIA. There was a biographical film called The Catcher Was a Spy that came out in 2018, and it was based on Nicholas Dawidoff's book. The film was directed by Ben Lewin, and Berg was played by Paul Rudd. It premiered at the 2018 Sundance Film Festival. Moe Berg remains one of the most unusual figures in American history. A man who proved that heroes don't always look like heroes, and sometimes the quietest person in the dugout is carrying the biggest secrets. If you enjoyed this story, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into baseball's forgotten legends. And let me know in the comments whose history you want me to bring to life next. Until then, check out this video on Ty Cobb, one of baseball's most misunderstood players, biggest villains, and most ferocious legends of all time. Thank you for watching.